At least 35 people have been killed in wildfires raging across the West Coast. Smoke from several major fires has now drifted east to the other side of the country, leaving a haze over places like New York City and Washington. In California, the flames have burned through about 4 million acres of land. In Oregon, rescue crews are searching for at least 20 people who have been reported missing. The state has also set up a mobile morgue, as the governor says the death toll from the fires will likely rise in the coming days. For more on this, I'm joined by Zach Urness. He's the outdoors editor for the Statesman Journal. Zach, thank you very much for joining us. You are there. You've been covering the fires in Oregon. Set the scene for us. What's it been like on the ground in some of these areas devastated by the flames?
It's been bad. I've been covering wildfires here for almost a decade, and we normally have wildfires. We have a wildfire season, but this was something completely new. There was major winds that just swept through cities not too far from where I live and just leveled them. You know, people are missing. We've had at least 4 people who have died very close to where I live, and it's just something that Oregon hasn't seen before on this kind of scale.
Yeah, I have relatives in the Medford area, and it was a really scary early part of the week, especially. I mean, they're safe, but I just can't imagine what it must be like. How have fire crews been doing? I mean, they must be exhausted, but the threat is not over.
No, they've been making good progress, though. There is good news this week. It was a very difficult first few days when we had east winds 50 miles per hour just blowing a firestorm through these towns. The good news is the weather has moderated. It's starting to feel a little bit like normal Oregon weather. And so they've been able to get a handle on some of the largest ones. We basically have 3 major wildfires burning right in one area, close to Salem and Portland. They've made some containment on it. They're not spreading into towns anymore. It's not over. There's drier weather coming in, and they're trying to contain it. But progress has been made, and there's hope that the worst of it is behind us.
Oh, that is some good news. Air quality, though, of course, as we're seeing these pictures, has been a major concern. What is that like? Because the air in Portland is currently ranked the worst in the world. How are people there coping, and what do they want to see from their elected officials there?
I mean, we're just trying to stay indoors as much as possible because, like you said, the air is literally hazardous. I mean, it's hazardous to go outside and breathe in the air. I've got a 3- and 5-year-old kid, and trying to keep them indoors. I mean, it was tough enough during the pandemic, and it's even harder now, but you have to do it. And another issue is driving. It's almost impossible to see. Sometimes you get fog on top of the wildfire smoke. It creates a really difficult situation. It's unlike anything I've seen before.
I mean, you mentioned the pandemic. Has the coronavirus pandemic hampered any response or evacuation efforts in the state?
I know that the pandemic and COVID-19 things have impacted the way that fire crews go about their work. They have to keep spacing. And so I know it's impacted them, but this was such a crisis situation that honestly, we weren't thinking a lot about COVID-19 for a little while because the goal was get out the fire, save as many people as you can, save as many houses, and prepare for if this thing grows anymore.
Yeah, right. Well, Governor Kate Brown is requesting a presidential disaster declaration for the wildfires. What exactly does that mean? How could it help with the state's response and recovery efforts?
It's just about bringing additional resources. You know, we were, again, set up for wildfires. We have a normal wildfire season, but this is so far beyond anything we've experienced before that just more money, more resources on the ground to find people, to protect structures, just to open highways. There's a ton of highways that are still closed. More resources are needed, and so hopefully that's what this is going to do.
And some of these images are just surreal. Zach Urness, I'm glad that you and your family are okay. Thanks very much. Really appreciate your time.
Yeah, thanks for having me.